The Big Play Reflux Show is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Christmas is right around the corner, and Shack News can help you pick out the perfect gift for the gamer in your life. They have reviews of all the hottest new games, including Sam and Max Save the World. And right now, they have in-depth breakdowns on the brand new PlayStation 5, as well as the Xbox Series X. Shack News is the place to be for all your gaming news, with reviews, walkthroughs, and guides. But they are much more than just articles at Shack News, with celebrity interviews and weekly Twitch streams. So go give them a sub on Twitch. And now Shack News is changing the video game coverage landscape with the launch of Shack News Cortex, a brand new way to interact and get involved in the gaming community. So if you're a gamer, Shack News is the site for you. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the handle @Shack News and at ShackNews.com.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
Cut back by Chubb. He's to the 10. He's still running to the 5. He dips outside left. He's doing it. Touchdown. Sideline drive. To the left. Away. Back to goal. Reflux. Instruct golfer backward. Boom shakalaka.
Welcome to the Big Play Reflux Show. Today is Monday, December 7th, Victory Monday 2020. I am your host, Big Play Dave, alongside my main man sitting at 9-3, along with all of us, Mr. Chris McNeil. What is going on?
Hey, everybody. We're all going to get laid.
Right?
Right?
Steelers lose. Browns win. We're on Monday night this week. This is fantastic, Dave. This is as good as 2020 gets. Peak 2020 tonight. Nice game, Pittsburgh. Way to lose to a team with no name.
The Washington football team. Nick Padone, welcome back to the show, brother. How are you?
Hey, what's happening? Can I get a Alex Smith comeback player of the year? How you like that, Squealers fans? AFC North cracked a little bit open, Dave.
Not bad, Nick. Not too shabby. 11-1, 9-3. Didn't think we'd be here. But here we come. What's going on?
The chase for the division is heating up as we speak.
That is right. 9-3. We got a great show for you. We're going to go real Browns heavy tonight. We will kick it off with Power Rank Monday. We're going to rank top 3 quarterbacks we would like to see in mock drafts for the Browns. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
You got the old agenda from last year this time.
That's right.
Old Joe notes.
Now, we are going to go super optimistic. Teams we'd like to see the Browns face in the Super Bowl.
No way that comes back to bite us, Dave.
Never. No, we're good.
That's a good way to go.
Different sides of the spectrum there. We will then get into our featured interview with Cleveland.com Browns reporter Dan Lobby. Get his take on the game, and as we kind of head towards this matchup with the Ravens, we'll get into a breakdown of all the Cleveland headlines. Browns 9-3. Baker balled out. Talk about him. Talk about that.
Does the second half qualify as balling out? I'll give him a first half.
He balled out enough in the first half. That counts for a full game. Full game of balling out.
Imagine you put together the second half of the Bengals game and then the first half of that game. I mean, holy crap. He'd be setting like Dan Marino records, Peyton Manning records, Tom
That'd
Brady.
be an MVP bid.
Yeah, no doubt. In one day. That'd be amazing.
Yes, it would. And then we'll talk about the Ravens. After that, we will get into the big plays of the week presented by my bookie. Look at the prop bets or projected prop bets how we think those stat lines are going to play out, those over-unders. Look at Myles Garrett getting another sack out there. And then we will give our bold predictions for the week. But let's kick things off with some Power Rank Monday. Oh, I turned it down.
There you go.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
All right, so this morning, Rex Ryan, woohoo, said that if Baker plays the way he did yesterday, the Browns could win the whole damn thing. This year, Super Bowl aspirations. So we're going to power rank the NFC teams we would like to play in the Super Bowl this year as we sit 9-3. I will kick it off. Number 3. I'm going to go with the New York Giants. The Washington football team won tonight against the Steelers. Nick,
How many times can we work that into the game or into the show? Into the show. We got to mention that at least every 30 seconds.
Oh, yes, we do. So the Steelers lost tonight to the Washington football team. Giants and Washington football team, there's a race going on for that division. I'd like to see the Giants. I think it would be fun to have OBJ rooting for us. Those Giants fans would freak out. They're still obsessed with him. We can make fun of Gettleman. We've got Chris with his growing up Colt book. There it is.
Colt McCoy. Pew, pew, pew. Yes, in the Super Bowl.
That would be a good one. So Giants, my number 3. My number 2, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Tom Brady loses to Baker Mayfield, the passing of the torch.
Right. I had a brain fart.
Why
I forgot
not?
Tom Brady was down.
You're like, why do you want to see Jameis Winston?
It's like, that's a random. Oh, yeah, that's right. Gronk and
yeah, go beat Tom Brady and send him off to retirement. That would be sweet. And then my number 1, I'm actually going to go with a pretty good team, the Saints, who should have Drew Brees back for this one. Talk about passing of the guard of the small quarterbacks. Drew Brees, possibly his last year. We'll see. Losing to Baker Mayfield in the Super Bowl, that would be pretty sweet.
That would.
Chris, what's your top 3?
You're kind of getting nostalgic there with old quarterbacks.
Yeah, right?
Browns play. Yeah, this passing of the torch thing is big in Dave's world.
It is.
All right, my number 3. I'll also say the Giants, but I'm going to say it for different familial reasons because my brother-in-law is a Giants fan. So it would be great to have that kind of rivalry going on.
How's he holding up?
Not well. But see, he's also a Yankees fan, and he's baseball first, so I got to put up with all that. So, I mean, the Giants can just lose every game as far as I'm concerned. Him as a Yankees fan, I have to hear about that all summer long.
Chris, we have Wyatt in the comments on Twitter says Giants will beat the Browns in 2 weeks.
Okay, that would make it really bad for me around the family gatherings. This does not need to happen. Colt McCoy lighting up the Browns. I mean, that'd be very 2020 and very, monkey paw. We have things going well for the Browns, then obviously you have to have something happen, and that would be the comebacker, but that cannot happen.
That's right.
My number 2. Also the familial thing, the Chicago Bears. The Bears versus the Browns.
I remember you and the Cubs and the Indians.
Yeah. So half my family's from Chicago. So there's that whole Bears, Cubs. Now, it didn't work out so well. Once again, the monkey paw nature of being a Cleveland fan. I thought, man, it'd be cool if the Indians make it to the World Series. Playing the Cubs, man, that side of the family. And, of course, the monkey
win-win.
Yeah. And it rained on us, and we know what happened. And then my number 1 team I'd like to play in the Super Bowl, the New York Jets. Wouldn't that be great? I know. They're in the AFC. I know that they probably were eliminated from the playoffs like a month ago.
Probably.
Nonetheless, if I'm going to handpick a team who I'd like to play in the Super Bowl, it would be the Jets. And it's 2020. Anything is possible. Maybe they do this playoff. You know, they have a couple of weeks of COVID that knocks everything out. They decide to have an all-in playoff. Somehow the Jets go on a magical run. We get to play the Jets in the Super Bowl. That is what I want to see to cap off 2020 and start 2021.
I think we'll see the Jets in the Canadian Football League before that happens.
Relegated?
Yes.
Relegated to the Canadian Football League.
You know what's kind of
XFL.
funny?
What's that?
Oftentimes on this show, especially this year when we have records, you know, the last time the Browns were 9-3, this and that, it wasn't in my lifetime. You know what was in my lifetime, though?
What's that?
When people wanted Greg Williams as the full-time head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Blitz, baby,
What
blitz.
what? Come get some, boys, because, man, Greg Williams still sending those all-out blitzes with no free safety in sight, Greg, huh? You didn't learn anything.
Cover
He's never
zero.
seen
Cover zero.
He doesn't like. My God, man. He's crazy. I
Yeah.
love it.
Nick, what do you
It's
got?
almost almost poetic that he got fired after that play, because that play encapsulates who he is as a defensive play caller.
And I put out a tweet about, you know, him having all the head coaching opportunities. He'd love to say every time he was at his presser that he's like on his way to a head coaching interview at that present moment.
Oh, he had a ton of resumes.
Oh, yeah, he's got all those resumes. I had so many people like, you know, he should still be the Browns coach. Like, what? What? Do you know where Stefanski's gotten us? Have you seen the divergent paths between him
Oh, you're-
and Kevin Stefanski?
You're saying they're still saying it now? Like
yes.
this year? Wow.
Yes. I had a couple of whack jobs come at me. I'm not even going to respond to
On
that.
the internet, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm not even going to respond to that. Who you got, Nick? Who are you?
All righty, let's do it. My number 3, the football team. Why the hell not? I think it would only be fitting. The journalist in me, I guess, would want to see the football team come, you know, play a game against us, with the Indians possibly having a name change coming in the next couple months. I think that would be a cool story, as well as
Yeah,
just
so the Browns finally make the Super Bowl, and somehow it's
story
about
is
the
that-
Indians' name. That would be great, Nick. Where do I?
it would be
sign
done.
up?
If it happened, it would be done.
Oh,
Mark
yeah,
my
it
words
would.
on that.
And that's the third best thing you can come up with for the Browns to play. That's great. I can't wait for the rest of this list.
Pretty much. My number 2, for a similar reason, Sean McVay versus Kevin Stefanski. Imagine all of the questions about two young head coaches, two bright offensive minds in the league. I do think that one would be much more fun of a game, Browns versus Rams in the Super Bowl. But just the whole Kevin Stefanski versus Sean McVay thing could be a lot of fun.
The
And-
Ivy League versus the
Yeah,
Ivy
too.
League of the Midwest. Right, Chris?
That's right.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, and then number 1, the Green Bay Packers, just because Aaron Rodgers. That's really the only reasoning that I have there.
Passing of the guard.
The passing of the guard, a lot of deep balls thrown in that game, not a whole lot of defense.
There you go.
Little revenge on our old boy Mike Pettin, who's the coordinator there in Green Bay.
I liked Pettin.
I didn't, but
I know you
I
didn't.
don't-
We've
we're not-
talked
we're not
about
going
that.
down- yeah, we're not going down that route today.
So, yeah, so once we make it to the Super Bowl, these are the teams we would like to play. Let's hear your teams you want to play in the Super Bowl. We got John says Minnesota, Stefanski's old team. I almost put that on the list. I think that would actually be a good one. Baker Mayfield outplaying Kirk Cousins. That would be not too shabby. But we shall see. We got a few more games to play before the Super Bowl. But we are 9-3. And we are riding high. Let's bring in our featured interview of the week, because we're going to Cleveland.com's Browns reporter, Dan Lobby, to talk some Cleveland Browns. We will be back with you in about 30 seconds, right, Chris? Already on the line, we've got Cleveland.com Browns reporter Dan Labby ready to talk some 9-3 Cleveland Browns. Dan, welcome to the Big Play Reflux Show, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're doing fantastic. The Steelers just lost to the Washington football team, and we're 9-3. Not too shabby.
Yeah, not bad for a victory Monday for Browns fans, for sure, to kind of have that cherry on top of a Steelers loss and opening the door, as Myles Garrett put it, to the AFC North.
That's right. That is right. So what the heck happened yesterday? Crazy first half.
Yeah, I think that was sort of the perfect marriage of scheme, talent, quarterback. Everything kind of came together finally in that first half when you jumped out to that big lead. Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield were basically getting whatever they wanted. And as I'm watching that game, it just felt like watching Baker back at Oklahoma. The protection was great. Guys were just running free, and Baker was delivering the ball where it needed to go. And he was kind of the old aggressive Baker. I don't want to say they put a leash on him, but they sort of put an emphasis on not wanting to have turnovers. And so he's playing a little safe there for a while. And yesterday I thought we saw flashes in Jacksonville, but yesterday I thought we saw that old aggressive Baker again.
Yeah, the QBR is now ahead of his rookie year, looking pretty good. So, internet's a wild place. Cleveland media, there's some people who are negative about Baker Mayfield, or they were before this game. You go to Twitter, and it's like talking politics with Baker Mayfield. It's crazy. Should yesterday's
More divisive, though.
oh, yeah, that's right. Yes,
Way more divisive.
do you think yesterday's performance should shut them up for quite some time here about Baker Mayfield?
It might, but then he's got to turn around and play the Ravens on Monday Night Football. So you never know. It does feel week to week with Baker Mayfield, and I think the bigger point is we can't just constantly ride this wave of 1 week he's great, and all of a sudden he's your quarterback for the next 10 years, and the next week maybe he's not as good, and now maybe you cut him in the offseason. I think those two extremes. Maybe we don't need to go that direction after every single football game. I think it's been a nice, steady progression so far. And, what I really like is, look, after that first Pittsburgh game, it was a disaster. You had no idea where it was going to go. And they sort of slowly, like I said, kind of rebuilt him a little bit. And now they're starting to open things up for him a little. And I'm really excited to see what he can do the second time he plays the Ravens this year.
So in the post-game pressers, is there any kind of a pool amongst maybe you guys covering him as to what he's going to reference, whether he's going to reference like The Office yesterday, whether he's going to pull out song lyrics? Do you guys have kind of a running bet over, what genre he's going to go with?
Nothing yet, but I think we have to start one. And he's kind of the thing I'm worried about is he's falling into this TV rut and kind of, from the same era. He did the Parks and Rec thing. He did the Office thing. I'd love for him to kind of go way back, not way back, but, early part of the 2000s and maybe pull out some Arrested Development, something like that, if he's going to go a little bit old school with his references. But, I think we are going to have to start a pool on that.
As long as he doesn't go Friends. I don't know if
maybe he can enter his press conference like Job did.
Yeah.
Final countdown in the background and all of that.
Now that's an idea. That's one that needs to get to Baker in his camp right there. If he comes in like Job, that's a franchise quarterback right there. I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care what he does on the field. That's a franchise quarterback.
Dan, my first question for you. I know you went to Kent. How bad do you miss those Arctic windy walks to Franklin Hall?
Oh my gosh, I do not miss it at all. And by the way, I was following you during that Virginia game. I wasn't able to watch it. I was following along, hoping the Flashes could pull that upset. But yeah, I certainly don't miss that wind tunnel when you're going like towards the student center facing the library or coming the other way in the middle of winter. I don't miss that one bit. I miss a lot of other things about Kent State, but not that.
Yeah, I will say that was the one nice thing about 2020 with the masks. At the end there, when things were really starting to get cold, the mask kind of worked as like a face hat, so it kept my face nice and warm. You're in the press conferences all the time. We talking about Baker. What's the biggest thing you attribute this season's turnaround to? Is it Coach Stefanski? Because in these pressers, he kind of seems so sharp, and it's such a drastic turnaround from what we kind of saw here in the city last year.
I really do think it starts there. And I think it starts with the idea that the Browns, even though we talk so much about Kevin Stefanski's scheme and kind of how they're working with Baker. And we talk about him as like an offensive genius, right? We're starting to put him in that category. He wasn't hired just because of scheme. Now, that was part of it. You hired a guy who ran heavy play action, heavy personnel, all of that stuff. But he was mostly hired because they saw a leader in this guy. And I actually had the opportunity after they hired him to go and talk to some folks who knew him in high school and all of this. And it just struck me like this guy has that background. This guy has been kind of building to this his whole life to be a leader of something someday. And of course, he got into football and now he's leading this team. You're seeing him kind of focus on culture. You're seeing him, in these press conferences, he's so vanilla. And look, that's by design. And you see that kind of trickle down a little bit even to the players. And, he had the, what was it, all bite and no bark slogan at the beginning of the year. And sometimes we can get caught up in those slogans a little, but it was a clear message like, hey guys, last year you did a whole bunch of talking. You came out and went 6-10. We're not doing that this year. We're going to go prove it on the field. And I mean, they have through these first 12 games.
So just before you came on with us, the players were a little bit rowdy on social media, seeing that Steelers loss had to feel so good for them because they think that door could be open just a crack. Where do you stand on all that? And what is the morale of this team as a whole, do you think? Because it seems as if as we're progressing, they kind of have a feel of the job isn't done yet.
I agree with that. And they really do seem to be kind of riding this wave, this winning streak that they put together. And they're very confident. You can tell, I wish one of the really tough things about this year is we don't have locker room access. We can't be in there during the week. We can't be in there after games. And, I think we're really missing out on getting a feel for this team right now, because I think it would be a really good vibe around all of these guys. It just seems like they're all bought in. And sometimes it can be hard to tell via Zoom and all of that. But it does feel like everybody on this roster has bought in. And look, it helps to win. That solves everything. But they really seem to believe this is going in the right direction. And you see those tweets, right? They're excited. They believe that they have a chance to go win this division now.
We've had a ton of injuries, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball and specifically in the defensive backfield. Is there anybody who's stepped up, you think, amongst that group, who's done a good job, who kind of filling in with all the injuries that we've had?
Well, as far as the backfield's concerned, I thought it was really great to see MJ Stewart make a play yesterday. That's a guy that I was actually really curious about when they signed him, and he came into camp, and it was funny. It seemed like every day after they claimed him and brought him into camp, you'd see him make some kind of play. And then he dealt with some injuries, couldn't really get on the field. Kevin Johnson wasn't out very long. He's really their primary guy at nickel when everybody's healthy and right. So, it was good to see him make a play yesterday. I think Terrence Mitchell has been put in a spot this year where he maybe wasn't expected to be the starter, but this is a guy that's competitive. He's going to get beat every now and again. He's a little bit of a gambler, but what he's been asked to do, especially now with Denzel Ward out, it's asking a lot from him. And I think he's stepped up, and you kind of look back to when the Browns brought him in. It was sort of a surprise. He won that starting job that year, played really well, kind of gave it up last year when Greedy Williams showed up. But I think Terrence Mitchell has been sort of, here's that cliche. He's been like that pro's pro there in that secondary, just doing whatever they need.
We've ripped on him a lot, but how about Sendejo? He seemed to have a pretty good ball game yesterday, all said and done. What do you think about his progression? If any?
He's given them, I don't want to say he's giving them what they need because he hasn't had a great year. It's hard to really defend what he's done on the field. But that being said, there is the leadership aspect of it. And I do think that's real. I think he's a guy that can go out there. He knows how to get guys lined up. He knows how this scheme works. I talked to Ronnie Harrison a couple weeks ago for a story, and I asked him, who are the guys that kind of, helped you out when you first got here? And he credited Mack Wilson for helping him get settled in Cleveland. And then one of the first names he said from the football side was Andrew Sendejo. So, look, at some point you have to make decisions between what a guy can do on the field and what he can do off the field. But the Browns right now can kind of get away with skirting that line a little bit and having Sendejo out there. And, unfortunately for him, he had an interception taken away from him, but he's played a pretty decent 2 games here now against Jacksonville and then yesterday.
So now we got the Ravens on Monday night coming back. The Ravens are coming off back-to-back kind of short weeks. We're hosting them Monday night. How big of an advantage or does it matter much about the weird schedule and the short weeks now for the Ravens coming in?
I do think it matters a little bit. You know, they get a little bit of an edge because it's a Monday night game, so they don't have to turn around and play right on a Sunday. So that kind of stretches their week out a little. But having that extra time for the Browns and the Ravens kind of coming off all this COVID stuff, you know, we don't know what kind of shape guys are going to be in. I mean, Myles Garrett admitted yesterday that he was winded, even though he played pretty well for 60 minutes. He admitted that he was winded and it affected him. And if it can affect Myles Garrett, it can pretty much affect anyone, right? We've all seen what he looks like and how he plays. So I'm really curious to see how the Ravens look tomorrow. And if there are some ill effects, if they do sort of, I don't know, maybe that Steelers game, even though they lost, kind of galvanized them a little bit. Maybe all of this galvanized them. So I just want to see how they come out of this. But there's a pretty good advantage there for the Browns that they get this kind of extended work week. And the Ravens have to play, you know, a Wednesday, then a Tuesday, and then a Monday. That taxes your body.
You mentioned Myles Garrett there, and of course he was out with COVID for 2 weeks. He had mentioned it kicked his butt pretty good. Anything that you know, any stories about that time that he was out that you've heard about how bad it was for him? And then in the recap there, was there anything after the game that he looked back and said, you know, I'm a long way on this or that? Obviously he had a sack, so he seems to be on the right track coming back. But anything else you've seen on Myles Garrett there?
Well, I had a sneaking suspicion that this was maybe a pretty intense case of it, because he was sick for a couple of days before he tested positive, and then he tests positive and he goes on the list, has to miss 2 games. And that really kind of told me that this was probably, you know, one of the more severe cases as far as NFL cases have gone so far. So, you know, he was really honest with us when he said that it kicked his butt. It certainly wore him out. But, you know, the thing about it, you couldn't tell on the field. Now, after the game, you know, I asked him, hey, you know, were you out of breath? Were you tired? Did it affect you? And he said, you know, he felt pretty good for the first quarter, and then he was kind of out of breath after that. But the thing about Myles is he's the type of guy that understands all he's got to do is kind of reach down for that one play, you know, in that one moment to change a game. And he was able to come up with a big 3rd down sack. And then, of course, you know, really just the pressures yesterday. When you see Myles bend around that edge, it's hard to not notice it. And if you're a quarterback and that's coming around your blind side, I don't envy that guy.
Yeah, especially when they grab his face mask and no one calls it.
Yeah. Doesn't help.
Dan, so let's get a prediction from you.
I want to ask you.
What's that? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so something that I didn't want to ask, or that I did want to ask you, just for the people at home that don't know, you know, exactly the ins and the outs of your job and what you do. How hard is it and how weird is it in this 2020 COVID season where everything that you guys are doing is on Zoom, and you can't have that locker room access like you were talking about before, and, you know, that up close and personal, just eye contact connection with the guys?
You know, it's really challenging. And, you know, especially for me, because I do a lot of secondary stories and I do a lot of different things that, you know, being able to go in that locker room and say, I'm going to write about this today and talk to 5 guys, you know, you lose that. I mean, just as an example, I think it was early last year, I wrote a story about, like, what is it like to block for Nick Chubb? And I was able to kind of go around the locker room and talk to all the offensive linemen. And that's just something you can't really do this year. And so, you know, I kind of miss that stuff. And look, it is hard when you can't go in the locker room right after a game. I mean, I'm sure the players love that we're not in there, but for us, it's hard to get a vibe on things. You know, just going back to the Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph incident, you know, being in that locker room and kind of just feeling it, like seeing everybody leave before we even got in there, and that locker room feeling like a loss. It just gave us all that sense that, okay, this is a big moment. This could be kind of the thing that torpedoes this season, and eventually it ended up doing that. So, you know, those are the things you lose. It's just being able to get a really good feel for the team and kind of how they're responding. But, you know, maybe it's helped them a little bit this year to not be under that microscope quite as much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's go optimistic here. Baltimore Ravens, Monday Night Football. What are you thinking? It was kind of a rough go the first time around.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm tired of being wrong about picking against the Browns. So there's no rhyme or reason.
From Cleveland.com is willing to admit that. That's great. Yeah, it was pretty bad a few weeks ago when everybody picked against the Browns and they went out and won.
Fantastic.
We
It's gotta be
all-
rough around the newsroom when you get one of those, right?
we all got burnt when we picked the Cowboys. Unfortunately, we didn't know enough about the Cowboys to know just how bad they actually were. When the Browns played them. But I try not to let that influence me. I did pick the Browns to lose to the Titans this week, so I got that one wrong. And so I'm just kind of tired of being wrong picking against the Browns. So I'm going to pick the Browns this week. But to be honest with you, I do think they have a real chance in this football game. These are two teams that are very different teams than they were all the way back on September 13th. Kevin Stefanski is more comfortable with his guys. The Ravens, like I said, coming off all this COVID stuff, they haven't been as sharp anyway. So I think this is as vulnerable as they've been over the last 2 years for this team. That huge win in Baltimore last September aside. So I'm going to pick the Browns. I don't really know a score right now, but that's the way I'm leaning.
I love it. Dan, where can all the Browns fans out there find all your good work?
They can go to cleveland.com/Browns. That's where we have all of our Browns coverage. If they want to give me a follow on Twitter, it's just Dan_LABBE.
Fantastic stuff, Dan. We appreciate the time, and go Browns 9-3 on our way to 10-3.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan Lobby, everyone. Round of applause. Great stuff. Great stuff.
There you go. That was a round of applause. Took a little bit.
I keep, delayed. Made him wait for it. Let's keep talking some Browns. Let's move into some Cleveland headlines. In 3, 2, 1.
Back to our earlier conversation about who
Yeah.
would play in the Super Bowl. I had somebody just text me, no Arizona, Murray versus Mayfield.
Ooh.
Vertical Challenge Bowl. Ouch.
That's rough. That would actually be
That would be a good
awesome.
matchup.
That would
That's
be
a good one.
Yeah, that would be.
That's a really good one.
Well, we shall see. I mean, we're going
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl, so we'll see who shows up.
Obviously, it's who we're going to match up against.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but the Cleveland Browns are 9-3. Our producer Nick, not this Nick, other Nick, so he put a few notes in here. Said last time they were 9-3. Padone, you were just talking about this. Boys to Men on Bended Knee was the Billboard's #1 song, and Tim Allen's The Santa Claus was the top box office hit. I just watched that a few days ago on vacation. It holds up. CGI doesn't hold up, but the acting definitely holds up. It's a great movie. I would say top 5 all time.
Were you a Boys to Men guy?
No,
No,
I was
neither was
not. No, I know Nick
No,
was.
there was a couple of kids who were like big into Boys to Men, and I'm like, no, that's just I could not do Boys to Men.
I actually don't know what On Bended Knee is. I
You
would
really don't?
No, is that the? Are they the ones that do the counting song like 1, 2?
What?
No,
Oh, yeah, I think that's,
I think that's them, right? Yeah. I don't know what On Bended Knee is though. I'm not good with music.
You don't know. you and your Boys to Men.
Not great with it. Nick, how old were you in 1994?
I was not born.
Wow. Oh, no copyright. Don't play that.
I'm not playing anything. Does that give you enough of an idea?
Yeah. Chris, what were you
The
doing?
last
What were
time
you
they
doing?
made the playoffs. Last time the Browns made the playoffs,
What's that?
you know what the #1 song was? I heard this on the radio today.
Ooh. Tommy Maddox, Kelly Holcomb. I have no idea.
That was a great duet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, how about Maddox? Oh, that's still. Oh, it
Yeah.
still drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Hey There, Delilah by the Plain White T's.
Hey there,
All right.
Delilah. Yeah, I know that song.
And that was the kind of band I heard that song, and I was like, "Hey, this band has some staying power." Nailed that one.
Yeah.
You know what disappointed me about that song?
What's that?
That's actually not about anything. Like, you think that's a song that he wrote for somebody, like he says in the song?
Like Delilah?
Yeah. And no, He just totally made it up on the spot. He said he made it up in like 5 minutes. I heard an interview back years ago with him.
Really? He's
I was
just
like,
super
what
high.
happened? Did it actually happen? Did he actually, end up with this girl and he ended up famous, obviously, for the song? No, it was all a lie.
That's kind of crazy.
Breaking down, hey there, Delilah. The Browns at 9-3. Well done.
Nobody
Chris.
breaks down the plain white tees quite like this show, Dave. So there you go.
Oh, that's great, Chris. What were you doing in 1994?
I don't even know what I'm doing now, Dave.
That's
I was
true.
breaking-
Well, what
breaking down-
the only reason I know what day it is because we're doing this show.
That's exactly right. No, I think I was moving back 1994. Yeah, I was in high school and we were moving. I think I was a freshman at Revere up there.
Wow,
And we were moving to
nice.
Granville. Yeah, as a Revere Minuteman. And
I love how we have so many different perspectives because you've got that. I was 9 and Nick wasn't here.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick, do you know who Boyz II Men are?
I mean, yeah, I've heard
You've-
of them. Not actually of their music. Like I can't call myself an avid listener. I've definitely heard of the Plain White Tees though, and Hey There, Delilah. I'm kind of blown about that still. Yeah, but I
Nice.
know who they are.
Nice. Do you know who Baker Mayfield is? Because he threw
I
4
do, yeah.
touchdowns in a half. 9
Yeah.
and 9 and 3.
Dave, you weren't 9. You were 9 in 1994?
94. I was born in 83.
Oh, my God.
Not
I thought
that's
you and I were like almost identical with our ages. I had forgotten about that.
I just look old and I have 4 kids and it's weathered me.
Yeah, it has weathered you. I was going to say. You look pretty bad, Dave.
I know. Let's talk some Browns. That's enough hate of their Delilahs and talking about me and Chris's age. 4 touchdowns, 334 yards. Almost all of that came in the first half. It was an insane first half to watch. Second half seemed like it lasted, I don't know, like 3 hours. It was awful.
It's a good
Nick-
thing I only watched the first half.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you very
Switching-
much to the good people at DirecTV for not showing the game. I scrambled to find a stream. I watched the first half and said, screw it. Because it was so far behind Twitter, I ended up just listening to the radio. So
So did you get into a Twitter fight
Thanks
with
to
them?
Jim and
'Cause
Doug
I
for this
saw
one.
they replied to you and tried to build a little rapport. Like, oh, McNeil, like, don't worry,
Hey,
we'll get this
McNeil.
fixed. How did they think that was gonna go?
no parades about our service, right? No, they didn't do anything. They sent out a generic corporate response, and then I never heard from them again.
Perfect. All right, Nick. Baker Mayfield looked fantastic, first half especially. Baker haters out there, silence. Haven't heard from him a whole lot. Probably won't until the next game. How long do you think those haters are going to be gone for? Are you with Dan Labia? You think they'll be right back after the first incompletion on Monday Night Football? Because I feel
I
like
mean-
you're the most, I would say you're probably the most optimistic Baker guy on the show.
Yeah, and not even optimistic, more as just that we need to learn to be optimistic because this is the guy that you invested the number 1 overall pick in, the guy that when you at that time you hoped would be the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. But to answer the first part of your question, I think what Dan said holds true, truthfully, and I think this needs to be Baker turning the corner and not Baker resetting the cycle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the hitting the recycle of beats a bad team, underdog mentality, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then plays like crap on Monday Night Football against the Ravens, and then we just do this all over again. That can't stand. This performance needs to serve, and I kind of jokingly said it in the open of the show, as like a dark horse MVP bid. The next 4 games, you play the Ravens, who are good, but after the COVID stuff and the couple of bad losses that they've had, the Browns should win that game. Then you have a game against the 2 New York teams, and you finish out the year in Pittsburgh. For Baker
Now
Mayfield,
it doesn't matter.
right, which now
Probably will not matter. Let me rephrase that. I mean, we could have a shot at the division at that point. but
Correct.
Assuming that doesn't happen, they're not playing for 16-0 anymore.
Exactly. So if you look at Baker, it's like, man, these next 4 weeks, you got to pick up on where you left off against Tennessee, because nobody was calling Tennessee a bad team before we beat them. And that's just the Browns
No one.
haters saying that Tennessee isn't for real. So I'm super satisfied, Dave, with what I saw yesterday. And this needs to be a turning point for number 6.
Yeah, I think this is what you get with a franchise quarterback. Like, you're going to have really good games, you're going to have really bad games, but I mean, we went over the stats last week. He's by far and away the best quarterback we've had since the return. It's not even close. He's creeping up in the all-time numbers in some statistics, which is so sad. But we've got our guy. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Chris, outside of Baker Mayfield, who would you kind of give the MVP to for yesterday's game?
I'll tell you what, I really like, even though he didn't end up with the most yards or the most receptions or anything, I like Landry again, kind of being that spark plug. When he's on the field, it seems like him and Baker just bring that swagger together. And, I don't want to go into the OBJ was messing things up, but it seems like with those two guys, they just are on the same wavelength. You had that trick play that they went for early on in the first quarter that netted them a first down on third down. That was Landry back to Baker Mayfield. It's just stuff like that gives him a little bit of a swagger and kind of loosens up the offense. And even if he's not putting up mind-boggling type of numbers or anything that's going to make your eyes pop, he's still giving a different dimension to the offense. The defense has got to be on the alert for, and I think it frees up Baker to be more of the good Baker that we saw yesterday. And I think Jarvis Landry is sometimes his impact is underestimated just because the numbers themselves probably aren't gonna bring anybody's attention right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, he had eight receptions. You look back at his rookie days on his rookie contract with Miami, he was the guy. He led receptions, I think in the NFL a couple of years. And you're finally
they were all for small amounts of yardage.
Sure, yeah, but he was the go-to guy.
Right.
And I feel
30 receptions for 80 yards.
Right, yeah. But I feel like that's kind of what we're getting. He is a legitimate wide receiver one. He can be your go-to guy. And then you got a guy like Hollywood Higgins who Baker loves, and Higgins, that's vice versa. That is quite the bromance we've got here in Cleveland, Ohio. 6 receptions, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Nick, is it time to lock this dude up long-term?
And he was the cause of the greatest slide-in I've seen, probably this side of Chris Collinsworth, right?
I thought that was video photoshopped.
I know, that was amazing. The turn. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything negative about him after a really good game for Baker, but man, if he starts playing badly, people are going to look back at this season and say, how much time did he spend on TV quotes? On sliding in? I mean, did he spend too much time on the off the field stuff, or was he really putting in the work in the film room? Because that was amazing. The way he slid in and then that turn, it looked like something from a movie.
Yeah, it was strange. I had to watch that video a few times there, and he showed off his athleticism a little bit there. That was a little
he looked more athletic on that than what he did on that pass from Landry when he was trying to get his feet in.
Hey, that was a good catch.
He looked like an old man trying to catch that ball. He did it. Hey, God bless him. But then he totally makes up for it with that whole slide-in spin thing.
That was a good catch, man. That was a good catch. Nick, who'd be your MVP outside of Baker?
Oh, that's a good question, Dave. I'll go with Higgins to just play off of Chris. That was a big touchdown because that really almost solidified the blowout. That's kind of when you knew that things were going to get fun, when he walked that red carpet. And to answer your question that you were about to ask, I think you do have to lock him up. It's an interesting paradigm that the Browns are in now, because Kevin Stefanski, we know his claim to fame is the 2 wide receiver sets. Okay, well, you think going into 2021, your 2 wide receivers are probably Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and a bunch of tight ends like we saw at the beginning of the season. But if Baker Mayfield shows that he is the dude that we wanted him to be and that we hoped he was without Odell Beckham Jr. and with Rashard Higgins, that could possibly be a tough decision that the Browns have to make, because Rashard Higgins isn't Odell Beckham Jr., but to Baker Mayfield, it just seems like like you said, they just have that chemistry, that connection exists, and I just don't see how the Browns could mess that up, especially after he was willing to come here and settle on, that minimum contract to take less money after he had bigger offers elsewhere to reunite with Baker on a prove-it deal now with Odell out. I think you got to reward him this offseason. You have the cap space to do so, and outside of him and Landry, I don't know what this wide receiver group even is.
Hey, can I give you one more too?
Yeah.
It was kind of like where I could start breathing again.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
When the Browns are up 17 and we kick the field goal, Cody Parkey coming through, man, that felt clutch. I don't know why. He misses that, and you could just feel everything going the opposite way as a Browns fan. You're just like, oh, man, I've seen this way too many times. He hits it. It's like, okay. All right, maybe we're gonna be okay.
And Chris, really, that put us up how many?
Moment.
How many points did that put us up with how much time left?
20.
That is so sad. So sad.
You could feel it. Everybody was nervous. Everybody was clenched over that field goal, and nobody's talking about it now. But man, in the moment, that felt like a field goal we had to have, and we had it. Thank you, Cody Parkey.
7 for 7, phenomenal. I mean, Chris, you remember. Last couple years we've been doing this. Every time we watch a Browns game, fingers crossed, you just expect them not to make it, extra point or field goal. Greg Joseph, Gonzalez, whoever it may be. Cody Parkey, man, MVP. I'm with you there.
Yeah, give him some props, man. Special teams.
That's right. You know who looked...
Third of the game.
Scottish Hammer looked a little rusty. Not going to complain about that. Having a rusty punter.
Get the rust on him. Get
Right?
the rust on him. He can look all jacked on the sideline. He's still awesome, but just keep him on the sideline.
That's right. All right, let's look at some prop bets, some projected stat lines for our Browns, because we are headed back to prime time. Let's look at the big plays of the week presented by MyBookie. It's the most wonderful time of the year and can't end soon enough. We all deserve a win. We all deserve a little extra money in our pocket. And we all deserve to have a little fun. The only place you're guaranteed to get all three is MyBookie. They are the only sports book that doesn't care whether you were naughty or nice this year. They've got gifts for everyone. Bet NFL, NBA, all your favorite college sports, and more. Sign up today and receive the ultimate stocking stuffer, 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. That is a great place to start, but we all know what Christmas is all about and what's under that tree. And at MyBookie, that means huge deposit bonuses, epic giveaways, and free contests. It's simple. Sign up using the promo code BIGPLAY and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. Head on over to MyBookie to make the most of the holidays this year. Strut into 2021 with cash in your pocket and a Browns Super Bowl. This winter, bet with the best. Bet with MyBookie. All right, so the Browns won yesterday, even though Titans were favored by 5.5 points. This week, we are going to be an underdog yet again. Ravens, 1.5-point favorites in this game. Should we feel a little, Chris, should we feel a little disrespect being the underdogs after that epic performance, or probably not since that second half happened?
Yeah, I think the disrespect came in this week's game, the Titans. That's a big number, I think.
Yeah.
For two teams that had identical records going in, and really you had two running games that are very comparable. And, you look at it at the margin, you're not giving much to the Titans for being at home, obviously, in a COVID world. It's more like 2.5 points as opposed to 3. We've talked about that on the show. So, I don't know. I feel more disrespected by that than this week, because this is a divisional game, and the Browns, quite frankly, haven't shown anything against the Ravens and the Steelers, and this is one of those two games. So I don't mind being disrespected because I think the Browns probably deserve it. You went out, you got embarrassed last time. I know the Ravens are a different Ravens team now. The Browns are a different Browns team right now. But you got to prove it. You got to prove it. Go out, win a big game in the division on national TV. We have a history of not showing up for those. So this is our time. And I give us all the disrespect in the world. Now it's time for us to step up.
This is gut check time. Gut check time.
I haven't got to play that sound in a while. Chris, that just reminded me.
Does that mean it's baseball card time, Dave?
It is not. It's gut check time, Chris.
Okay.
What is your gut feeling for Monday night?
My gut feel is the Browns are going to win. The Browns are going to win this ball game. How about that? I'm going to go with Dan, positive Dan, and I'm going to say the Browns win, and we're going to win 34-27, something along those lines.
Okay.
I see a fairly high-scoring ball game from us. I see Chubb getting more carries and more yardage. I think it's going to be less reliant on Baker and kind of throwing the ball around and making creative plays. And I think it's going to be more straightforward, back to the basics for the Browns, because I think that's where ultimately we feel more comfortable.
Yeah, Nick, what's your gut feeling heading into this game? And so we don't have any odds out yet because it's Monday Night Football. We still have games to play this week, but they'll be out. So once my bookie posts those numbers, what are you thinking? What's your gut feeling for an over/under in this game?
I truly think this is going to be a sloppier one, and we definitely will have a better read on what the Ravens look like tomorrow as they play the Dallas Cowboys Tuesday Night Football. And before you go out there and you place your MyBookie bets, I would watch that game and kind of check out what the Ravens look like. So it is truly hard to say, but I think with that in mind, the Browns go back to winning sloppy football because that's what they've done all year. We talked so much about the first half of this game yesterday. The second half, it got messy again because Stefanski, he doesn't really like to pour it on. He kind of pulls back the dog, so to speak, at the end. He's done that all season. So I think the Browns go back to a little bit of a sloppier game. A timely turnover on defense, running Nick Chubb, throwing quick screens to Kareem Hunt, and that's your success to win against a team that outside of the first matchup last season has had your number throughout the entire Baker Mayfield era in Cleveland.
So there's no stat lines out there yet for MyBookie, but what I would expect Baker's line to be somewhere around like 19 completions for like 218 yards. Do you think we go under this week?
I think this is the week that things finally balance out, and I'm going over just because Stefanski. You know why? Because Stefanski did it all day yesterday, and he just rode the hot hand that was Baker Mayfield. And really, I almost wonder if that was a little bit of a carryover from what we saw in the Jacksonville game. We murdered Baker for the throw that he missed high to Rashard Higgins in the end zone. But outside of that, rightfully so. But outside of that, he had a decent game. The completion percentage was up, albeit against the Jaguars. But I wonder if that was Stefanski's thinking. Like, okay, this kid showed me enough against the Jags, had a good week of practice, went into the Titans game throwing. I'm curious to see if against the Ravens, those training wheels come off a little bit more and we see a little bit more balance between running and throwing.
All right, so we're taking the over on Baker when those come out. Over 220. Yeah?
I would do over 220. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to go under, and I'm going to change my mind. Chris, looking at the other side of the ball, we were talking about Myles Garrett earlier. Is he getting another sack in this game?
Yeah. One thing I know from this season, you don't bet against Myles Garrett. He's getting at least one sack. National TV, come on. Yeah, Myles Garrett. Just go ahead and write those in right now.
Nice.
2 sacks, maybe a forced fumble.
He's only sacked Lamar Jackson. I think he's got a sack and a half in his career against Lamar.
More than double that.
Oh,
wow.
3.
No.
Oh, okay. He's going to more than double his total.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm not very good at math.
My math is, yeah.
Neither of us are.
Math goes out the window when you're excited.
Let's go to the Kent State guy for our math.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. our Kent State guy with a liberal arts degree for the math calculations. No, in all seriousness, it's hard to do math when you're excited. They're 9-3. We want to see Miles have a 3-sack game, especially against Lamar. Who guys, if we want to get serious again, Lamar has not played good football even before the COVID stuff.
He's looked awful.
He was getting killed a little. He can't find Hollywood Brown the same way that Baker couldn't find Odell at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
I wonder if this is a good kind of just complete polar opposite of what we saw the first time these two teams played, where Baker is good now and Lamar could be figured out now. It's going to be a good game on Monday.
I think the most interesting thing about Lamar, like, he hasn't looked good at all, but he was throughout his career outside of like his first playoff run versus the Chargers, like he didn't get sacked, he didn't get hit that hard. He's been sacked more this year than his entire career. It's short, but I mean, 24 sacks this year in 10 games for a mobile quarterback.
Well, their offensive line has, they lost Ronnie Stanley, who they paid 5-year super mega offensive right tackle contract. And then the next game he goes down with a knee injury. So that line definitely is decimated, and it's different than what it was. And so is the defensive line too. I think the Browns guys have a good chance, especially Ravens with a little bit of a quicker turnaround time. I'm optimistic.
How could you not be? We're 9-3, and the Steelers lost. If you didn't catch that earlier tonight, the Steelers lost to the Washington football team. So after yesterday's win, Chris, Vegas and MyBookie now give the Browns the 4th best odds to win the AFC, plus 1,400. Usually the Browns have the 4th best odds at winning. Not a whole lot.
The number one pick.
Yeah, right. Chris, how are we feeling? Are we going to catch the Steelers?
No, we're not going to catch the Steelers.
Come on.
That's a bridge too far. I like the optimism. That's a bridge too far. But yeah, I mean, hell, look at the rest of our schedule. I mean, my God, falling down, we should go 500.
Yeah.
And anything above that puts us in a real good spot. And even at 500, I think we're in a good spot. So I think that the Browns have played themselves into where the Browns need to be playing themselves into more regularly now, which is you've got the playoffs ahead of you. You've got you hold your own cards. So, hey, I love this. I love this. This is the way it used to be back in the 80s. No one remembers it anymore, but it used to be this way, where the division wins were an afterthought almost. Now, we're not to that point with the Steelers still ahead of it, but hopefully we keep on this trajectory, and we will be. But, man, it's good to be looked at as one of the top teams in the AFC. I didn't think it was going to happen this quick, to be honest with you. But, I mean, legitimately, you look around the AFC, who else? You got the Chiefs, you got the Steelers, and then, maybe Buffalo. I don't know. But nobody else scares me outside of those really those two teams. So
isn't that a weird feeling? There's not a team out there. I mean, you look at the AFC, even when we were looking like just having some fun doing the NFC for a Super Bowl, there's no team out there that I'm like, oh no. Like maybe the Seahawks with Russell Wilson in a Super Bowl, I think he would probably beat us. But like there's no teams out there that Cleveland Browns fans are that scared of right now.
And I'm going to do something crazy for this show, especially. I'm going to give Joe Woods a little bit of credit there, right? Because who thought yesterday that we were going to shut down Derrick Henry? Nobody. We thought it was going to have to be a game where Derrick Henry rushes for 200, but the Browns outscore him. But Joe Woods and that defensive group, as decimated as it was, as Chris asked Dan, they just keep finding ways to win games, and it's being talked about, and the rumblings kind of grow every week. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Woods isn't on this football staff next year, because he's going to be a head coach somewhere else.
Wow, hot take there. Hot take. I like that. Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk a whole lot about the defense earlier, but one of the pain points going into the season, the first beginning of the season, and kind of as we headed to this Ravens game, has been the linebacking group. I thought they actually looked really good comparatively. Like, secondary didn't look good, but linebackers, I thought they looked really, really good. Mack Wilson had one of his better games. Taki's improving every single week here. I'm hoping this linebacking core can kind of keep that momentum going against the Ravens here and turn into, an above average linebacking core for this team.
Yeah, against the run, who would you think is the better linebacker right now? Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks or Sione Takitaki of your Browns?
No, it's easy. Taki.
The PFF grades Bobby Wagner just a few points higher than Takitaki. He's having a pretty good season against the run, and we're going to need that on Monday because that's what the Ravens want to do is run the football.
And it's nice the way they work it in tandem too. There's a play. The OBR put out a stat line on this and put out some good video on this of Taki coming up and just eating up the fullback so that Mac Wilson could get into the backfield. So, I mean, those kind of schemes with those type of players, I mean, we talk so much about talent and about where we're at on the defensive end of the ball, especially with all these injuries. But then when you can scheme with the guys we do have left and those guys can perform, that's what makes it. And I think you're right that they've done a nice job overcoming this season, and it's good to see them. I'm really putting it together on the defensive side of the ball when we need it.
All right, score prediction for this game, Nick.
Oof, put me on the spot at first. I'm going to say it's a lower scoring, but not super low. I'm going Browns 27-23.
27-23. Okay. Ravens give up 19 points a game. One of the better defenses out there. I like that though. Chris, what do you think?
What did I say? I said like 34-27.
Oh yeah, you did. You already put it out there. I'm kind of with Nick. I think we're going to see us. I'm going to go 21-17 Browns. I think it's going to be low score.
Everybody's got the Browns to win. We're the anti-Cleveland.com. We all pick the Browns every week on this show.
You'd be crazy.
10-3?
Yeah, 10-3 insane. But I mean, can you even imagine like us talking about we look like the better team right now than the Baltimore Ravens? Can you imagine like how we felt week 2? Like we're like, oh my God, we can't play with this team at all.
We were wondering if we made the wrong decision hiring Kevin Stefanski. We were trying to get Case Keenum into the game. Like, how far have we come?
Dave was trying to get Case Keenum.
And then to back that up to last year, I wrote something about Kevin Stefanski today. Week 13 this year, Browns have an awesome performance against the Titans. Week 13 last year, Freddie Kitchens lost to the decimated Pittsburgh Steelers and Duck Hodges in the stupid vertical outs game where we were just torched through the air. It's just amazing how different this year actually feels. It's something special, guys.
It is. So if you're a Baker hater or you're one of those negative people on Twitter, grow up. The Cleveland Browns are fantastic. Get on board because it's super fun.
It's super fun.
All right, Chris. Ohio State versus Michigan or baseball cards?
Well, let's do both. Why not both?
We're going to do both. I mean, you pick which one we do first.
Let's do baseball cards, and then we'll come back for the Ohio State.
All right.
Hot takes.
All right. So I've never done this before, but Chris always does this. But to give you a little background, Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger, when they broke quarantine, went to
Dan Plesac. That's
not Dan. Broke quarantine and went out and played baseball cards. And me and Chris had no idea what that was. We still don't really, but I think we've got the hand of it. So we've got funny story. A friend of the show showed up in my driveway in a pickup truck, and I'm like, who is that? With 2 packs of baseball cards in his hand. Said, hey, this is for Monday's show. So we have the greatest fans out there for any show. So we appreciate it. John, fan of the show. We'll name him Big Play John for this show here. 2 Topps baseball cards, 1989.
Oh, that's great.
Chris, on here, win a trip to the 1990 spring training game.
Do you think they'll still make good on that?
Oh, and you know what? I think the only reason he did this was because he felt bad for you having to eat the gum. So both of these packs have 1989 gum in them.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
So they're the exact same.
You get to join Flavor Country like I've been in. So
not looking forward to it. All right, Chris, what do you want? You want your left or right?
Give me my right.
So that would be my left.
Give me your left.
My left.
Just give me cards. They're the same pack.
All right, this is going to be you, Chris. Where is the gum in here?
It probably just disintegrated.
Oh no, there it is.
You've been eaten by a card.
We breathe it in now.
Oh, it's stuck to the baseball card. Look at that guy right
That
there.
happened.
I don't know. Oh, it's not even. Oh,
Oh, it's crunchy.
it's not crunchy. It's like
That's worse.
Oh, it tastes like cardboard.
Well, yeah. I'm not this big of a baby when I do it. I just kind of roll right.
Yours
through it.
is like
Come
crunchy. Mine's
Man up.
disgusting. All right.
on, man up. The defensive end who was out with COVID came in and made a sack. You can't even open up a pack of cards without bitching.
Dude, that's disgusting. All right.
Suriat once ate over 100, or almost 100 nuggets, and he was fine.
And now he's got his own show on the cooking channel.
All right. Ryan Sandberg starting it off hot.
Yes. Rhino, overpriced.
Rance Mullenix. Was your gum really this gross? Did it taste like cardboard?
Every time.
Wow. You're a pro's pro. Ron Robinson.
No. These cards suck.
Dave Stewart, Athletics.
Not bad. I think I've got like 50 of those cards. That's one of those cards I get in every pack.
Bob Nepper.
Of course.
Pat Borders.
There you go. He played for the Indians.
There you go.
The end of his career.
Looks like the catcher from Major League. Kurt McCaskill.
Ooh, solid.
Jimmy Williams. Jimmy with one M.
Who are we going to put with Ryan Sandberg?
Kurt Young.
Who are we putting with Ryan Sandberg?
Dwayne Boyce.
Who are we putting with Ryan Sandberg?
Albert Hall.
Oh, yeah, you had me at Albert.
I know. Brad
been
Moore of
Joey.
the Phillies. Man, you're striking out here. Dave Meads of the Astros. Fred Tolliver.
God, this is like, wow.
And Montreal Expos Mike Fitzgerald. That is a weak pack.
We're going to go with Rhino and be Dave Stewart and Rhino.
Yeah. All right, I feel like I'm definitely going to win.
You pull anything in that pack,
I do not want to eat this other gum.
tough. You want the pack, you got to eat the gum.
I don't want the pack.
Well, then
Don't
you
drop any more cards
lose
over
by
here.
default.
Yeah, all right.
You gotta at least get you guys up.
Oh, it's
Get
over.
open up.
It's over. Do you eat both packs?
Yes. Don't try and weasel out of this.
No, this one has mold on it.
What?
There's mold on the gum.
This listener wanted you dead, didn't
Oh,
he?
we're starting another pandemic here.
Do you see that?
Oh my God.
The gum
Yeah, that's gonna
virus.
give you COVID.
I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
I'll eat it later.
Okay.
Chris,
Yes.
can you see that?
Dan Plesac.
Dan
We both got
Plesac.
Dan
Wow.
Plesac. I got my Dan Plesac right here.
That is fantastic.
That's a homage to the game if you get a Dan Plesac.
That's right. That's a wild card.
Yep.
Dave Lapointe. Pass.
We've gotten him before.
Les Lancaster.
Mhm.
Not horrible. Tom Filer.
Ryan Sandberg's going to carry the day.
Here's an Indians. John Farrell.
Oh, yeah. Also in the front office, right?
All right. John Morris of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Dotson of the Yankees.
Dick Dotson.
Mark Grant.
Mark Grant.
Lou Whitaker of
Sweet
the
Lou.
Tigers. Brian Harvey of the Angels.
You're not doing so well.
Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt, yeah.
Oh, here we go, Chris.
Rangers, right?
Yeah, Bobby Witt of the Rangers. This is a good one. The Dodgers, better known for his tribe days in the World Series. Oral Hershiser.
Very nice. You know, he came up on my Facebook yesterday
Bruce Benedict and Jose Ceseno.
as a suggestion.
As a friend?
A friend. So I did it. He hasn't friended me back yet, so we'll see. I'll keep you up to date if Oral Hershiser becomes my friend on Facebook.
There you go. So yeah, I think I'll go with Dan Plesac and Oral Hershiser, 2 pitchers.
All right.
Nick?
Oh, am I pick? I'm picking. Yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot
Nick.
I don't have an intern this week.
Yeah,
He's
no.
off. He's on the IR.
Yeah, Noah's on the IR. I'm going with Dave's. I got to.
Oh, come
I gotta
on.
tip-
I
I
had
gotta
Rhino
tip-
and Dave Stewart.
I know. I got to tip my
You
cap
know
to
who
the
Dave
to
Stewart
the
is.
the DNA of this game. Okay, Dan Plesac. If it wasn't for him, this game wouldn't even be a thing.
This game
that's
has
true.
become self-aware. The year 2020, the baseball card game has become self-aware.
Yeah, first moldy gum.
I should have
Second,
checked that first one for mold. I didn't take a good look at it.
Oh, you'll find out.
You'll find out about 3 a.m.
It does dissolve right in your mouth, though, Chris. You are right there.
Yeah.
All right, round of applause. Whoops. Nope. Wrong soundboard. Round of applause to me.
So we're going to talk some Ohio State.
We are. So Chris, we haven't talked.
There we go.
28.5 favorites seems a bit low, Chris. What do you think?
That's right. I was expecting at least the big 3-0. Dave, they play this game. The game won't last very long. It's going to be a huge blowout. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be there for every moment of it. Once again, if they play the game. I don't think it's going to be much of a game at all. Do you? Harbaugh's last stand?
I heard they're talking about extending Harbaugh.
Of course.
What?
It's a bunch of morons. They would, but I
Insane.
heard the facilities are open and that this thing is a go. That's what they're talking about here in the Columbus area. So that's a good thing because as long as they play it, we're going to win it, and we're going to win it quite handily at Ohio State.
I am with
Right?
you there.
I mean,
I
Does
think
anybody-
we win
does
by
anybody give
40.
Michigan any kind of a chance? in this game?
No.
No,
Nick, no.
no.
How many
I
how
can't
many
even-
points does Michigan score?
Oh,
No more than 10.
I'll give them 14. I'll give them a couple of touchdowns. But that's it. And
Remember,
Ohio State's going to do whatever they want.
We
This
beat them
is
by
the game-
29 last game, I believe.
Do you think we're going to? Think we're going to?
Do you feel like this
Hang
Michigan
100
team
on 'em?
is better
Yeah.
or worse than last year?
Will we hang 100 on them?
that's the question. Ryan Day, that is confirmed reports that Ryan Day did say at one point that he was going to hang 100 on Harbaugh. Wouldn't that be a final farewell? You get 100 hung on you in your last game as head coach of the Michigan program, and you go on to coach the New York Football Jets.
Okay. Either we hang 100 on them, or this wasn't a successful season. That's what I say.
There you go.
That's a promo tweet.
That's a promo tweet. Nick always think of the promos. All right, let's go bold predictions because I'm with you, Chris. I do not think that is going to be a game whatsoever.
Hey, before we go on to bold predictions, I do have
Yeah.
a question to ask.
What's up?
Did I dream this, or did the NBA announce a schedule and the Cavs announced a schedule, and we're going to be playing basketball games here in the next couple of weeks?
Chris, we're playing basketball games with fans in attendance in the next couple of weeks. That is correct.
I have never seen a schedule release with less fanfare. Like, I literally saw that come out from the Cavs. I retweeted it. Even the retweet got like no interest at all. Like, no one cares that the NBA is going to be back.
Except
We're going to
me.
have Christmas Day games of the NBA that everybody was talking about a few months ago. No one cares.
Wow.
Absolutely no one cares.
Chris, I feel like me and you are very similar. Like the pecking order, it's Browns, and then I go Indians, and then I go Ohio State, and then like kind of pretty far down, even though they won us a championship, is the Cavs. Nick, you're different, right?
Mine's twisted.
Yeah, you're a big Cavs fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge cat. Mine's definitely Browns. It's a Browns town. It always will be. But my number 2 is Cavs for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys aren't excited? I mean, Game 1,
No,
LaMelo Ball comes to Cleveland in his debut. LeVar at Romo for LaMelo versus Sexton. LaMelo, that doesn't get anything done for you guys.
No, I don't care at all.
I just can't believe. I mean, now you actually follow this stuff very closely, Nick. You're a huge fan.
Yep.
Was there any fanfare at all for this schedule release, or did
No,
I
I
just
mean-
completely sleep on it?
No, I think they did it in a really weird way where they first the graphic, and I think it's the graphic you retweeted, Chris, incorporated only the big game. So it created a little bit of confusion because it was the opener against Charlotte, which is okay, LaMelo comes to Cleveland, that's cool. But then they put the Nets graphic on there, which obviously Kyrie and KD, the Lakers with LA, LeBron, and then the Clippers. So people are like, whoa, our first 4 games of the season, you give us Charlotte, the bold LA teams, and the Brooklyn Nets
Yeah,
with KD.
that's right. We're going to
So-
start off 0-4. I got a lot of tweets. We're gonna start
So
off
I think it was a little bit goofy where that was just a misunderstanding. Those were just the big dates. Where the start of the schedule is actually not that difficult. You start against Charlotte and then against Detroit in game 2. So you could very well start out 2-0 for the Cavs.
You know what? I remember when the season ended and the Cavs were picking up momentum. They were looking good. JB Bickerstaff, we were like, we want to see more of JB Bickerstaff. Friend of the show's Lindsey Gottlieb. This coaching staff, I think, could be our Kevin Stefanski for the Cavs, but we don't have the roster that the Browns have.
There's a 10 seed play-in tournament that happens in the NBA this season. So if you could sneak into that 10
that's
seed,
the other thing that no
Yeah.
one talked about. It's the whole tournament. Yeah. That
The
was
Cavs
also
could-
stuck in there. I'm like, is anybody looking at this? I was reading down everything that they're doing this season. They've got 2 different halves, and they've got a playoff seeding and all this. Nobody is talking about it.
the Cavs are going to be a playoff team this year. They're going to be in the tournament.
There's your bold prediction right there.
Look at that. Let's do a bold prediction.
Bold prediction.
All right. You know what? I will go Ohio State since we didn't talk about it. By the way, I love that we just talked
Ohio State to win.
probably more Cavs than we have in a long time, and the Browns are 9-3.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Ohio State is going to put up 75 points.
100. Oh.
75. That's bold.
That is
75
bold.
in a Big Ten game. That probably doesn't get. That doesn't
Oh my
happen. That
God.
doesn't happen that often.
They are showing Alex Smith. Have you seen this documentary on Alex Smith? It's on ESPN. I put on ESPN primetime during every show. And then if we run long, it goes to whatever's next. And they have this thing on Alex Smith.
I was wondering why you missed that live read. You're watching
Yeah,
TV.
Oh, yeah. They showed Alex Smith's leg and the thing this contraption they had it in. Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
insane.
I'm going to puke.
Ugh, gross.
God bless Alex.
You
Smith.
didn't
It
even
was showing
eat
young
moldy
Urban
gum.
Meyer at Utah, too, which was kind of neat.
Nice.
And there's Mike McCarthy. He's done very well.
He's going to be back in his basement with his his coaching staff, fake coaching
Yeah.
staff.
All right, a bold
Prediction, Chris.
So you said 75. I say the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to hang 100 on Michigan.
Oh, you one-upped my bold prediction.
Giddy up. Giddy up. Go
Wow.
bold or go home. Let's go.
All right.
All right, back to me. I say the Buckeyes put up 120. All right, Nick, don't give us a Cavs bold prediction. Give us a Browns one since we both win Ohio State.
I was going to do a Cavs
Browns
bowl.
hang 100 on the Ravens. Yeah.
I'll go with this because we almost had it take place.
Ooh.
Andrew Sandejo, this is the week, boys. He's picking off Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
And returning it to the house. Come on, put the hook.
We almost had it.
Almost had it.
Yeah.
I felt so good for him, too.
I know, because you could tell he was running the other direction. He wanted it. This is the week, Andrew. This is the week.
I love that. That's a good one.
That is fantastic. All right, let's wrap this thing up. We went long. Thanks to everyone in the comments for hanging with us. Appreciate you guys. Huge shout out to Shaq News. Go check them out, shacknews.com. Go make your bets at my. What'd you say?
The Alex Smith documentary. They're showing
Get out of here. Huge shout out to Shaq News. Huge shout out to my bookie. Go make those bets. Use promo code BigPlay, one word. And big shout out to Dan Lobby for joining the show. We will see you next week, Monday night, prime time, Ravens, Browns. We are going to watch that game. So we are going to do our show live on Tuesday, recap that game, and then look forward to a couple crappy teams in the near future. Hopefully get into the 12-13 win range. We shall see. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Go Browns. 10-3. Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
I thought that was an Austin Powers soundboard they had there. Yeah, baby. There it is.
Okay, do you need medical attention?